Hello, and welcome to Pep Talks. I'm taking this raw footage from the premises of the Lausanne Global Workplace Forum. The Lausanne Workplace Forum is an initiative of the Lausanne movement. We started in 1974, something Billy Graham started with John Stott, and has continued since then. That the church will take the whole gospel to the whole world. And the emphasis this week, as we've met in Ghana, people have come from all over Africa and the Middle East and other parts of the world, has been kingdom impact in every sphere of life and every sphere of society. That is God's will. When Jesus taught us to pray, he said, pray that your kingdom will come. God, your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And yet, many of us think that the kingdom of God is restricted to the four walls of a church. No. The church is like an embassy of the kingdom of God, but the kingdom is bigger and broader than that. I realized that a lot of the gospel that Africa has heard and learned has been the gospel of salvation. But that only gets you in the door. The broader message is the gospel of the kingdom. There's a king who wants to reign and rule in the affairs of men, that the whole earth will be filled with his glory. And this king has called us to, in every sphere of life, whether we're at home, whether we are in the marketplace, at work, or wherever we are, to make sure that he gets glory, to make sure that we are blessing creation, and we are vanquishing evil, injustice, unrighteousness, all of that, so that his kingdom will be established. So I hope that with time, this mindset becomes more and more pervasive as in Africa, which has the largest number of Christians right now in the world. And yet we're not feeling that effect when it comes to impact in everyday life. The biggest gap in Africa, I keep saying, is the gap between Sunday and Monday. Loads of people lifting their hands, speaking in tongues, listening to sermons, dancing, all of that on Sunday. And yet you don't see it in traffic on Monday. You don't see it at the ministries. You don't see it, in the various workplaces, at the factory, wherever. And so that theology needs to change. The thinking that worship is Sunday and worship is what we say we do with our lips or when we bow. In fact, the Hebrew word for worship, one of them is shaka, which means to bow, but the other word is avoda, which means to serve. In fact, it's so close that when Paul says that in view of God's mercy, offer yourselves as living sacrifices, with this is your spiritual worship. Other versions actually translate that this is your work. This is your spiritual work. Work and worship are two sides of the same coin. And it's about time we realized that our work is worship. That will change things in Ghana. That will change things in Africa. I actually find that a lot of people do the worship in terms of the singing adoration as an escape from real life. But worship is not an escape from real life. Everything we do, whether we eat or drink, whatever we do, we need to bring God glory. We need to do it as worship. God bless. Think of these things, and I'll be sharing more as the weeks go by. God bless. Pep Talk.